Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 7. So Module 7 is another module where you have quite a few assignments to complete. So I'm just going to go over what you'll be working on here. We're almost to the end of the semester with this one. So you can see that this is the module with your drama exam. So just like the short story unit and the poetry unit, you're going to be taking this exam. The exam is the true, false, multiple choice type questions. And then you do have a separate essay question. The essay question covers theme, which there is a separate chapter about, which I encourage you to just kind of glance over that so that you get a good, we've talked about theme before, but as applied to poetry and fiction. So you may want to look through that again just so you can see how that might apply a little bit differently to drama. And so this essay question is going to feel very similar to what you have done before. There's a section of just 10-minute plays which aren't very difficult to read through in chapter 28. So you're going to choose one of them, look over it, and then just write a couple of paragraphs about, what you think the theme is, what do you see them using, that kind of thing. So you've done something similar before. The second assignment in the module is your research project. So you're actually turning in the final draft of your research project. Before you do that, I do want you to turn it into this presentation discussion board. The reason I have this assignment in here is because this gives you it allows you to gives you a chance to see what your peers have worked on, and then for some students they can get a little bit of feedback if they see if there are any errors, there are any issues with it. Now some projects will be ones that can't really be changed, so if you did a painting or something, then most of the feedback you're going to get on it is probably, wow, that's really cool, and so some of the responses could be things like, what did you like about it, what suggestions you have, how well did they display their research, that kind of thing, would you learn from it. So there's a lot of stuff that you can comment on, respond with. So it's just like similar to if you were to actually present your research to the class in some way. And so we're doing this through a discussion board, obviously. So just make sure that you get your research presentation or research project posted here early enough that other people can respond to it. That's the only issue, is if you spend the entire week working on it, then you may run into issues. So if it were me, I would get the research project done first and then do the exam, just because the exam is probably going to be something I would do at the end, but it's up to you. So just kind of keep that in mind. Then your submission is right here. Submission is going to be your presentation. If you did a PowerPoint, it may be a picture of an art project. So there's a couple of different ways that you can submit. If you have any questions about how to submit your project, be sure to send me an email, especially if you're doing something like a video. So that's the basics of what you're working on here. And don't forget that you've got this working on your research project link back here with some tips for making effective PowerPoints. PowerPoint is probably the most popular option that students choose for their presentation or for their research project. But there's a lot of ways to make a really bad PowerPoint. So make sure that you're keeping in mind one of the criteria of the project itself is creativity. So you want to make sure that you're displaying plenty of creativity with it. Don't forget, you'll turn in a source list with it, as well as a reflection. Your reflection is just reflecting on the project itself, how you felt about it, that kind of thing. And there's a lot of information on that criteria sheet. The source list can be the exact same sources you turned in earlier in the semester. That's fine, as long as you just double check and make sure that there aren't any issues with the MLA, because this assignment will be graded on whether or not you're doing the MLA citations correctly. So you may want to make sure that you don't need to make any changes from that. So if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. Otherwise, have a great week.